We are back right here, Win Daily Sports. Follow us at windailysports.com for a 6-game slate in Major League Baseball. It's Tony Jigsaw Cutillo, joined by Jason. As always, we're here most of the week to get you the best lines we can get, the best value for your money. And Jason, Mondays are always difficult because you go into Mondays, it's like the Manic Mondays, they call them. You string over for the weekend, guys rest, only 6 games, but some big top pitchers at the very top. So what are those aces of slate that you're kind of targeting for this game?
Tony, I told you on Sunday Night Series I won't bring it up again, but I got to bring it up live on our YouTube channel that the Mets defeated the Philadelphia Phillies.
We got
they
one.
Won another series.
We got one.
Kyle Schwarber scared us for a second. Went out there and mashed a couple home runs, but Mets are looking pretty damn good. Probably not going to go to them on this slate, but you got to get different on a 6-game slate on DraftKings.
Okay.
Look, there's not like a clear offense that's like, oh my God, we got to go ahead and stack, this team or that team. So you can look at the Mets, but we're talking about pitches right now. Look, I never thought we'd have a day on DraftKings where Pablo Lopez, the starter for the Miami Marlins, is $10,000, the highest priced pitcher on the slate. But dude's been balling, and Miami's been winning games. So can't really discredit DraftKings on this one. He's got a .39 ERA, 23 Ks in 23 innings. His whip is .73. He's averaging 24.6 fantasy points per game on DraftKings. He's coming off a start against Washington, 27.1. And then against St. Louis, a good offense, potentially great offense. He goes out there, 7 innings, 3 hits, 9 Ks, gets to win. He's won 3 of his last 3 starts. Pablo Lopez, I guess, is the real thing. And he's going against Arizona, one of the worst offenses in baseball, at home. Everything's in this guy's favor. So I guess he is the ace of the slate kind of by default. His price is crazy high. It doesn't make sense. But look, Vegas has it at 6.5 over-under. He's a -145 favorite. So he is the ace of the slate by default. I think Chris Bassett is playable. He's pitched well. 2.25 ERA, 3-1, 26 Ks in 24 innings. He's had some great games. He had a little dud against San Fran, but San Fran is a really good team. So Bassett is definitely in play. I don't load up and go all in on Pablo Lopez, and I won't go all in on Chris Bassett, but Atlanta doesn't scare me at this point. So the 2 aces are Bassett and Pablo Lopez, Tone.
So let me ask you this: 10,000 for a Marlins pitcher. All the years you've been playing, who was the last Marlins pitcher you remember?
Jose Fernandez. Don't even finish your sentence. That's probably the dude, man.
Rest in peace. You knew where I was going.
Yeah, rest in peace. I love pitching him. He was a lock. He got to hit back in the day, and he was a stud all around, man. So a shame to see him gone, so early in his career. He was the last guy, man. He was that dude that he was just wicked, man. He had a fastball and a nasty curve. He was a really good pitcher, but right now it's Pablo Lopez. Luzardo's out there pitching good for the Marlins. The Marlins are winning games too. So Arizona on the road to Miami, it's a soft matchup, man. That's why he is going to be the ace of the slate. I think you can get cute and go Lopez and go with the same pitcher or a pitcher in the same game and go Zach Gallen too. 7,600. Dude's been great. He used to be a top prospect, 0.6 ERA. Look, nobody in the MLB is really hitting. So you're going to see some crazy stats early on with some of these pitchers. 15 innings pitched, 14 Ks, 0.67 whip. He's 7,600. So I don't mind pitching Lopez and Gallen together. If you don't want to go with Gallen as your SP2, you can still find ways to get Lopez and Bassett together in your cash games. It worked out on Sunday. I ended up going with Burns and Gausman, and that was the chalk, but it hit and it made sense. I think you can pay down if you want to get cute and go Rasmussen or, scared to say it, Chris Paddock. I love the dude when he's in San Diego in that first year, but he's been terrible ever since. But Minnesota's winning games. Baltimore sucks. He's got a 3.6 ERA. He's 7,200 on DraftKings. SP2 to kind of get different. Gets you 20 points. You're happy. You got 19.2 against Detroit, 12.3 against KC. Pitch count a little bit low, 71, 87 in his last 2 starts. So Paddock is playable. The player pool for pitching for me is Lopez and Gallen, as one of your best combinations. Bassett as well. You can mix him with Gallen if you don't want to go with the same pitchers. And then Rasmussen and Paddock, and everybody else for the most part, is off the board for me.
So look at the other end of the spectrum, right? So we talk about guys that are aces and we want on our team. Who do we not want on our team? Who are the guys we're going to attack with the bats? Who's the gas can for tomorrow?
Yeah, look, the Yankees have been mashing as of late. I think they won like 9 games in a row. Judge hit another 2 home runs. Rizzo's been hot. Stripling is a guy that you can target. He hasn't been terrible, but the Yankees have been really good. They've been hitting with a lot of power. So I like the Yankees tomorrow. The Twins are going against Tyler Wells. He's hit up 3 home runs in 13 innings. Twins have been hitting
Oof.
well. Buxton, Correa, and they got some cheap value too. So if you want to pay out for pitching, the Twins are cheap. You have Ursula cheap. Everybody in the lineup outside of Bucks and Korea are anywhere from $2,000 to like $4,000, and some of them are really affordable in the top of that lineup too. So I like the Twins for cheap, and then the last stack, the Mariners. Man, the Mariners are finding ways. J.P. Crawford. If you told me Pablo Lopez was 10,000 and J.P. Crawford would be 5,600 on the same slate, I'd say it's, things are going bonkers in the MLB right now, but that's Monday afternoon or Monday evening. JP Crawford, 5,600. Pablo Lopez, 10,000. Seattle stackable because Odorizzi is really bad. He's 6.0 ERA, only 9 Ks. He's not really striking people out. So whip 1.67. So he's a guy that you can attack. And nobody really likes playing Seattle. So they're going to be under owned against one of the weaker pitchers on the slate.
I like that because I was really looking at Minnesota and I like it. I talked about this on Sirius. I love Buxton. I like Trevor Lawrence from a FFVP standard, 2,500. And Seattle, I think a lot of value. I like Dylan Moore for 3,400 and Julio Rodriguez for 3,700. So both those guys, then you could get some really power numbers in your lineup with guys like Rizzo or Judge if you want to ride the hot hand. But you mentioned about guys to stack. Is there anybody, off the top of your head, like a value play? We talked about me, Adam, yesterday. We're talking about Baltimore Orioles being a sneaky stack that maybe not a lot of people are going to play. I know we just mentioned the Mariners, but there's anybody out there, Jason, you could see on this slate that we may want to attack that we didn't talk about?
It's not so much
It's only
attack the
6 games,
pitcher.
right? So it's tough.
Yeah, it's 6 games. Ways to get different. Look, you're not really attacking the pitcher as much as you're targeting hot bats. The Mets are swinging hot bats all around. Look, Max Fried has pitched well. He is a stud for Atlanta, their top starter. He's got a 3.0 ERA. Let up a home run in Chicago on his last start. He can get hit though, man. He really could get hit. The Mets have Alonso. They have some bats. Marte, middle of that lineup that can do some damage. McCann is cheap, 2,800. So if you want to get a little bit different, Lindor has been mashing. If you want to get a little bit different, if the Mets can get to Fried early, they can put up another double-digit spot, man. They've been hitting the ball. They're a very deep team. Kana, 2,600. He'll probably draw the start. So I think a mini Mets stack or a potential full stack for the Mets is a way to get different because everybody's going to see Max Fried. They're going to shy away, but the Mets have been hitting. So I think they're a sneaky stack on the slate. And also Toronto. Anytime Toronto's on the slate, George Springer's been hot. Vlad is, starting to heat up again. So a nice little stack of Springer, Vlad, Bichette, and maybe like Gurriel or Chapman. These are guys that, Montgomery is not a world beater here. He's not like this guy that should instill fear in the Toronto lineup. So I think Toronto is always in play as well.
So, being as this is a short slate, before we get out of here, it's only 6 games. When you talk about these very very minor slates, not a lot of options. What would you say to everybody? Your best strategy to employ when you're building the DFS lineup?
Yeah, find ways to get different. You don't always have to. You always want to stack. Don't get me wrong, but you don't have to go with a 5-3 stack on DraftKings. You can go 4-3-1. You can go 4-2-2, and or just switch it up and go. Don't be afraid to have these one offs. And go 4-2-1-1-1. These stacks are working. People are hitting it, and they're making money off it. So get a little bit different. Don't always go with a full stack, especially if you're entering one or two lineups here. Find ways to get difference. Don't fade the fact that Lopez and Gallen are pitching in the same game. Look, the over under 6.5 is the lowest on the entire slate. These are some of the two of the weaker offenses on the slate. So don't be afraid of taking pitches from the same game in this rundown. And don't be afraid of not going with these full stacks of completing a 4-4 stack or a 5-3 stack. Have some one-offs in a slate like today.
The famous word or phrase of the day is going to be "Don't be afraid." Bringing back some like old school Aaron Hall, right? Listen to your here, right? Don't be afraid. But as always, Win Daily Sports, where you find you can get everything you need, whether it be articles, whether it be expert advice, whether it be streams, whether it be podcasts. Follow us everywhere at Win Daily Sports, whether it be TikTok, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, everywhere, and obviously windailysports.com, so you can get those projection models, so you can be getting the same kind of information we're spewing, but we're just going more analytical into it. So as always, for Tony, for Jason, everybody have a tremendous day, make some profit, and we'll catch you back here next time.